We start with the playoff picture here. Couple teams have already clinched their spots at the top of the division standings right now. The Patriots and the Steelers. I saw one comment in the comment section, Mitchell, so we'll get to this now. The Patriots signed James Harrison because, of course, they did. Yeah, well, again, of course they did. Like, why not? He's a veteran presence. He's going to add veteran leadership to that locker room. I'm sure he has Pittsburgh's playbook still. Yeah, I'm sure he does as well, and that's what I love about it. Like, what? And my favorite thing was before the show we were talking about the Steelers fans are just in uproar. Sorry, you weren't playing him. He went to a team, and yeah, I hope he does give the playbook. Probably should have cut him. I hope he does give the playbook to the Patriots. Didn't use him that well. What if there's a different thing here? What if James Harrison is the ultimate sleeper agent, and he has gone inside the Patriots organization to tear them down from within, just like not Timothy Malakoff, Anderson Varejao was for the Cavs and the Warriors. That's inside phenomenal. It's phenomenal. All right, so Patriots, Steelers. We'll get back to our actual playoff picture here. Patriots and Steelers at the top right now. Patriots on the verge of clinching that number one overall seed. They do need a win or a Steelers loss though, so they should get that right. Well, they're playing the Jets at home, and yeah, I think that's a W for them. And I believe the Steelers are playing the Browns. I would imagine they would win that game, but I've seen crazier things since working in this industry. But I think the New England Patriots are going to lock up the number one seed with home field advantage with a win against the New York Jets. All right, getting down to the bottom of the division leaders here. The Jaguars and the Chiefs. Jacksonville lost this week to the 49ers. An upset game there against the hot Jimmy Garoppolo-led San Francisco 49ers squad. The Chiefs took care of business. They have clinched the AFC West. So your top four teams are set with the Patriots, Steelers, Jags, and Chiefs. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, the Jaguars, I was surprised that they lost this game, but Jimmy Garoppolo right now is just straight roll, and I can't wait to see what he does next year. But the Jags play the Titans, and the Titans need to win to have a chance to get in. The Bills and Chargers, though, are nipping at the heels. I think if there's a team who's safe out of all the teams who are yet to lock up a spot, it's the Ravens. The Ravens, I think, continue to play well, and I don't think that they're going to lose to the Cincinnati Bengals, Tom. Well, we'll get in now to those wild card teams. 4 teams still in the mix in the AFC for 2 spots. The Baltimore Ravens, the Tennessee Titans, the Chargers, and the Bills. For Baltimore, it is very simple. If they win, they're in. Also, if Buffalo or Tennessee loses, they are also in. So Baltimore is on the verge of clinching a spot. They are in fantastic shape. It'd be a surprise if they are not in the wild card this year. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, we've been saying it for a few weeks now that I think Baltimore's going to make it in, and it makes it interesting for the Titans, the Chargers, and the Bills. I mean, if you're telling me right now, Tom, out of those 3 teams, I think the Chargers have the best chance because I don't think the Titans are going to beat the Jags. We'll start here with the Titans up next. They're 8-7, a couple different scenarios, and we'll go deeper into these scenarios on Friday's NFL Daily. The Titans, it's also winning in. They do also play Jacksonville, which is going to be a tough game for them. They also get in if Buffalo and the Chargers lose. Now, that's what they need to have happen because of the way the tiebreakers work out. But Tennessee, if they win, they get in. But do you think that happens against the Jaguars? I don't know. I mean, we saw the Jaguars kind of lay up an egg this past week, giving up 44 points, but I think that was more to do with Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes, Tennessee played the Rams very tough, but I think the Jaguars are going to bounce back in this game, and I think they're going to ultimately win it. Just like I think the Bills are going to go into Miami, and I think they're going to win that game because the Dolphins, they show up sometimes, and there's other games where they look like the worst team in the NFL. But the team who I think is going to win is the Chargers at home against a very, very poor Raiders team that we saw last night on Monday Night Football. You mentioned the Chargers there then. They have a scenario that gets in. What ultimately matters for the Chargers is they need to get a head-to-head tiebreaker. If it's a 3-team tiebreaker, they'll fall out of it. But if the Titans lose and Buffalo loses, if they get that head-to-head tiebreaker there, if they can face the Bills at 8-7, or both teams at 9-7, they're going to get in. That's crazy, right? I mean, but again, like this AFC picture is, I don't know. I don't know. The only team when I look at them, the only team to me that screams out who's an NFL playoff caliber team right now is the Chargers. And then the Bills there also at 8-7. They can get in with a Bills win and a Ravens loss, or a win and a Chargers loss and a Titans loss. Or if they tie, the Chargers will lose and the Titans lose. So the Bills, because of the way the tiebreakers work out, they really aren't in great shape. They need to win and get some help along the way. Yeah, they need some help, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's it's not very likely to happen. Again, this Bills team kind of shot themselves in the foot when they started. What was his name? Nathan Peterman. Nathan Peterman against the Chargers in just an abysmal game where he threw 5 interceptions. They're definitely regretting that one, Tom. That's the AFC playoff picture. Let's get now to some AFC playoff projections here. These are mine, so Feel free to yell at me in the comments section if you don't like. I saw our Steelers fans didn't like that you said DeAndre Hopkins might be the best receiver in the NFL. I still think Antonio Brown's better, so I actually agree with them. So I'll throw you under the bus there, Mitchell.
No, I don't. I'm not saying Antonio Brown isn't. I said you could make the argument that DeAndre Hopkins is.
All right. So here are my AFC playoff projections. Patriots, Steelers, Jaguars, Chiefs. Nothing changes there. And then the Chargers get in over the Bills with that head-to-head. I still believe this. If the Bills had played Tyrod Taylor instead of Nathan Peterman, they would have made it to the playoffs because they would have won that game.
I don't know, Tom. I still think the Chargers dominated that game so much that they would have been able to get in, and that was right when the Chargers started to play the best football of the season. I still think the Chargers win, but I think it would have definitely been much, much different.
All right, so the Ravens are also get in our AFC playoff projections here at 10-6. I think they'll find a way to win this game coming up here. They should do that. Again, here's a look at our NFC playoff picture. The Eagles have already clinched the #1 overall seed, so they have nothing to play for this week against the Cowboys, but it might be good to get Nick Foles more reps.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be good to get Nick Foles more reps and against the Dallas Cowboys, who I think are going to come out in this game, and they're still going to play hard. I mean, anytime that there's an inter-division rival game, the teams show up. The Eagles want to knock out the Cowboys, I'm sure. I think it's going to be a good game, and for sure, the Eagles need to get Nick Foles more reps. They need to get this offense more reps. I mean, he's really only played, 2.5 games?
Vikings there at 12-3. They are the #2 seed. As things stand right now, they actually haven't technically clinched it because if the Panthers win and the Saints win and something happens with the Rams, the Panthers are actually still alive to the #2 overall seed, which is crazy NFC. But I like where Minnesota sits right now as the #2 seed. I think they'd get that this week as well. The Rams have already clinched the NFC West at 11-4. And then there's the Saints as well, Mitchell, still fighting to secure the NFC South.
Still trying to secure it, but I think they're going to end up getting it against the Buccaneers. Sure, the Buccaneers played the Carolina Panthers pretty tough this week on the road, but I think the Saints go into Tampa Bay. They're going to take care of business. They're going to end up winning the NFC South on the shoulders of what has been an amazing season for Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara. It's going to be interesting to watch the Saints march in the playoffs.
Getting now with Carolina here at 11-4, technically still alive for the #2 seed in the NFC. We'll give you those scenarios later on Friday, but here they are briefly right now. Carolina gets the first round bye. If they win, the Saints lose, the Vikings lose, and the Rams lose. So they're still alive, technically, the best kind of alive.
I wrote an article today at chatsports.com, so you guys should definitely check it out. But yeah, I was baffled to find out that the Carolina Panthers can still get the #2 seed. Unbelievable. It just shows how great the NFC is compared to the AFC.
So as things stand right now in the NFC playoff picture, 5 teams have secured a playoff spot, although the seeding outside of the top seed still yet to be determined. Where things get chaotic, though, is at the potential #6 seed, with the Atlanta Falcons at 9-6 and the Seattle Seahawks at 9-6 as well. Atlanta has the easier path. If they win, they are in. If Seattle loses, they are in. If both teams tie, they are in. But if Seattle wins and Atlanta loses, the Seahawks get in. Mitchell, with the Falcons sitting on the Panthers this week, what do you expect from them?
So it's a tough matchup, there's no doubt, and we saw it a few weeks ago, but I mean, the Atlanta Falcons are at least home against the Carolina Panthers, which I think is a huge, huge benefit to them. But I think we can also agree that the Seattle Seahawks play the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to be without a few key defensive players, which could allow the Seahawks to win this game. I do expect the Seahawks to beat the Cardinals. I don't know if I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to beat a Carolina Panthers team who, yes, they struggled against the Buccaneers, but I think the kind of football the Panthers play matches up very well with the Falcons.
Let's get into the NFC projections here. Again, these are mine, so yell at me in the comments if you disagree here. Nothing changes on the left side, all right? Eagles, Vikings, Rams, Saints. That's pretty straightforward. I, though, Mitchell, have the Falcons at home beating Carolina. Seattle wins against Arizona as well because of the tiebreaker. Atlanta gets in. You disagree with me?
I disagree just simply because I haven't seen this Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan right now is on the ultimate MVP/Super Bowl hangover. The guy needs to find something to cure that hangover. He has 18 touchdowns compared to 38 last season. I believe it's his career low. I don't know if he's ever had this few amount of touchdowns. The offense isn't churning along. Sure, Julio Jones once in a while plays well when Matt Ryan decides to give him the ball, but he only has 3 touchdowns this year. Tom, I think the Carolina Panthers know that they have a chance, at least a chance, to get that 2 seed. They're going to come out, they're going to keep pounding. I think they're going to take care of business against the Falcons, and I think the Falcons are a better team than the Seahawks, but I think the Seahawks are going to get in.
We'll talk more about this on Friday. I have maybe the curious line of the week for you already. The Falcons are favored by 4.
Really?
Yeah, curious line of the week. Give me Atlanta. I think with their backs against the wall, they find a way to win this game there. I will say this because I saw this comment from Eric Simmons about if Seattle can make a run. I think whatever team gets that 6th seed can make a run. But I also know that with what I've seen from Seattle the past 3 weeks, it has been bad. Like I don't know what's going on with the Seahawks. Maybe it's because they're banged up or whatever. Their offense has not looked good.
It's been abysmal. And I mean, considering how great Russell Wilson has been this season, I mean, for majority of the year, you could still make the argument that he's the MVP candidate, but we watched the game against Dallas here in the studio. We watched them play the Rams. He calls hike, and he already has an entire defensive line down his throat. Teams don't need to even blitz against them right now. They're putting 8 back in the coverage, 4 coming at Russell Wilson, and he's running for his life. Wide receivers aren't getting open. It's the Seattle Seahawks right now on offense are, I would argue, the worst offensive team that might get into the playoffs.
One more quick thought here, then we'll move on, is that I think the difference between the 1st seed right now in the Eagles and the 7th seed in Seattle, especially with no Carson Wentz, it is very, very thin. And I think you can see a lot of upsets in the NFC.
Yeah, I think if there's a Vikings fan out there, he's just rubbing his hands together, just can't wait because they're just sitting pretty.
All right, folks, those are your NFC playoff projections.